Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. We begin with the latest on Nigeria's fight against Boko Haram. The officer in charge of military anti-insurgency operation in the northeast has been briefing reporters on successes recorded in the past few months. Major General Rogers Nicholas on Wednesday announced that the military have killed 186 terrorists between the end of 2017 and 2018 so far. The terrorists were killed as part of the military Operation Deep Punch 2, aimed at clearing the insurgents in the northeast. Major General Nicholas also revealed that the military has rescued a number of hostages from the sect, while also destroying many of their camps. He also revealed a large number of arms and ammunition were recovered and insisted that the military is winning the battle against the insurgents. The theater commander, however, solicited the cooperation of the general public in capturing fleeing members of the sect, including its factional leader, Abubakar Shekau. Now, as part of efforts to find a lasting solution to the farmers' herders' crisis, the governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, on Wednesday appeared before members of the Nigerian Senate. Ortom appeared before the Senate Committee on Security to explain what his government is doing to stop the crisis in his state. The Benue State governor also led a delegation to meet with the United Nations country representative, Edward Kalun, over the continuous killing in the Middle Belt state. The incessant attacks between farmers and herders in the country has become an issue of national and international concern, as over 100 people have been reportedly killed since the start of 2018. Benue is so far the worst hit in the crisis. The attacks have left no fewer than 80,000 people displaced in the Middle Belt state. The Abuja command of the Nigeria police has paraded 5 alleged car snatchers within the Federal Capital Territory. The men, which the police says have been trailing since last year, were nabbed with different cars and arms. Ironically, the gang was led by a medical doctor who runs a hospital in Kubwa area of Abuja.
These criminal elements that normally operate in the early hours of the evening drive in heavily tinted vehicles. When they get to the entrances of their targets' houses, they will blare their horns of their cars. The gate man will assume that they are family members or friends. The gates will be flung open, and they will get inside and rob the occupants of their cars and valuables, especially jewelries. I am happy to tell you today that the FCT Police Command has busted one of such gangs responsible for the evil acts. The gang is led by one Dr. Ola Solomon Jumade, the proprietor of Vital Care Hospital in Kubwa, who is presently on the run. The command, through the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, commenced discreet investigation, which led to the arrest of the aforementioned suspects and the recovery of the robbed BMW X6 vehicle. In the course of investigation, so far, 5 vehicles that have their colors changed have been recovered, out of which 4 have been identified by their respective owners that were robbed at gunpoint in various areas of the city. In addition to this, 4 pistols with 8 rounds of live ammunition and a face mask carefully concealed in a bag in the office of the runaway Dr. Ola were recovered during execution of such warrant in the suspect hospital.
President Muhammadu Buhari has asked Nigerians to pray for the country's unity and progress. The country has been facing various insecurity challenges with over 150 people killed by suspected herders in different states. In his statement to mark the beginning of this year's Lenten season, President Buhari said he believes that Nigeria's existence as one united country is a divine arrangement and nothing should be done to put it asunder. He asked the Nigerian Christian community to intensify love, brotherliness, and concern for the less privileged members of their communities in order to strengthen the bond of togetherness. Meanwhile, as part of efforts to tackle the insecurity crisis in the country, the Nigerian government has unveiled a new security framework. The policy framework designed by the Office of the National Security Advisor is to counter violent radicalism. It is expected to put a permanent end to insurgency and various other crises in the country. In August 2017, President Muhammadu Buhari issued a directive for the implementation of the policy framework and national action plan to deal with recurrent security challenges in the country. The policy framework is to address issues like Boko Haram insurgency, farmers and herders clashes, militancy in the Niger Delta, and the IPOB agitation in the southeast. This is the outcome of 6 months of research, consultation, and capacity building by the Office of the National Security. The policy framework is presented to Nigerians at this gathering.
I am very pleased to highlight that the policy framework, which we present to you today, has gone through wide consultation. The National Working Group included government, ministry, department, agencies, faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, including women and youth, who contributed in shaping the ideas and plans. We have also committed to entrenching strategic communication as an element of national power, which we integrate in all aspects of our work.
The policy framework will depend heavily on education, enlightenment, and the use of the media for information dissemination to Nigerians. This, the Minister for Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, believes will go a long way in dismembering the remains of Boko Haram left.
It is upon this realization that the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture has resolved to work closely with all the core constituencies as defined in the policy framework. We are committed to developing narratives and communication strategies that will completely dismantle and neutralize Boko Haram ideology and messages and other extremist ideologies.
National Security Advisor Major General Mohammed Manguno, retired, said the law enforcement agencies are being strengthened to address different security challenges in the polity ahead of the 2019 election.
Growing up in Nigeria, we knew only the harmony that existed between the different tribes and religions. Climate change, ethno-religious conflicts, herder-farmer conflicts, and bad politics combine to present imminent security challenges for all Nigerians. We are taking steps to strengthen our law enforcement and security agencies in dealing with these threats to national security.
The Office of the National Security Advisor says it will continue to collaborate with civil society groups, the media, faith-based organizations, community leaders, and political leaders to achieve lasting peace in the country. The Nigerian Senate has adopted an electoral amendment to change the order of the 2019 elections. The amended act will ensure state governorship and House of Assembly elections held before presidential elections. According to the amended law, National Assembly elections will hold on February 16, 2019, while governorship, State Assembly, and FCT Area Council elections will hold on February 23rd. March 2, 2019 was chosen as the date for the presidential elections. However, some senators in the legislature are against the amendment. 10 All Progressive Congress senators have disagreed with the process as illegal, insisting that only INEC can change electoral laws. The changes are still subject to approval by President Muhammadu Buhari. Still on National Assembly matter, the upper chamber has given all ministries, departments, and agencies a one-week ultimatum to submit their 2018 budget proposals. The Senate reached the resolution after debating on a point of order raised by Senate Leader Ahmed Lawan. Lawan at plenary on Wednesday informed the lawmakers that 63 out of the 64 government agencies are yet to submit details of its 2018 budget proposals. In response, the Senate President Bukola Saraki ordered the MDAs to ensure that their budget proposals are submitted before February 21st or face sanctions. The Court of Appeal in London ruled on Wednesday that 2 Nigerian communities cannot pursue Royal Dutch Shell in English court over oil spills in Nigeria's Delta region. The split decision upheld a High Court ruling last year that stood as a setback to attempts to hold British multinationals liable at home for their subsidiaries' actions abroad. The court rejected the appeal by Nigeria's Bile and Ogali communities and upheld a ruling that English courts do not have jurisdictions over claims against Shell's Nigerian subsidiary, Shell Petroleum Development Company. SPDC is jointly operated with the Nigerian government. President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with the Bauchi state government over the death of some teachers and students. The 21 secondary school students and 3 teachers died in a car accident in Kano. The group was on its way from the town of Masau in Bauchi for a field trip to Kano. The Federal Road Safety Commission in Kano State and authorities from junior secondary school told newsmen the bus carrying the students had a head-on collision with a truck. 1 teacher and a student, however, survived the incident. The federal government has been charged to upgrade the country's health facilities to take care of cancer patients who are having a difficult experience accessing treatment. Both the state and local governments were also charged to take active roles in providing quality health care for cancer patients who live in their rural areas. This was part of the submission of speakers at the one-day cancer symposium tagged Sustainable Funding for Cancer Care and Treatment in Nigeria.
Nigeria is the only country in the world.
In this hall are medical practitioners, cancer patients, cancer survivors, lawmakers, policy analysts, and caregivers. They are all gathered united against cancer with one purpose: increasing access to radiography services in Nigeria.
No one segment of either the government or society can really do it. We must work together as a team. Federal government must work. Federal government today is doing a lot of work through the National Cancer Control program. This program must be replicated at the state level as well as the local government level. What I mean here is that health is in the concurrent list today in Nigeria. So states, local government must also key into this program.
And often when
Professor Onyekwere Ebigbo is the board chairman of Project Pink Blue, the organizers of this event. He wants government to increase funding in the treatment of cancer in the country.
As we already know, cancer is a serious health challenge in Nigeria, taking away Nigerians in their prime at a time when they are needed most and often when they are most relevant to provide mentorship to the younger generation. Cancer has become a hopeless illness in Nigeria. It has become an illness of pain, neglect, and dejection. The cost of treatment is so high that thousands of Nigerians cannot afford cancer drugs. We have witnessed all sorts of campaigns for funds for cancer patients taking different shapes. Many on social media using diversified strategies, including the famous fundraising campaign to support the treatment of a veteran broadcaster, Sadiq Daba. As a country, we cannot have a better health care by allowing our citizens to constantly rely on crowdfunding to get funds for treatment.
Cancer is described as a capital-intensive treatment, which most patients cannot afford, while families of patients are often faced with the dilemma of spending huge money for an uncertain situation.
Cancer is one of the treatments we call the catastrophic medical expenditure that can ruin a family. I know about 3-4 families, cancer ruined their family, the expenditure of their families. At the end of the day, the patient dies. So it's a moral question. Should I continue to treat when I'm sure the person is going to survive and spend all our money, or should I let the person just die? So I think this is a big question we need to ask ourselves.
I was diagnosed in 2010, and I went to the National Hospital for treatment. And I went through all the treatments. I did my radiotherapy, I did my chemotherapy. I was also on hormonal, they call it hormonal therapy. I was on a drug for 5 years, and I did my surgery too.
Everyone in this hall agreed that only a collaborative effort between all stakeholders in the health sector is key to fighting the spread of cancer in Nigeria.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
My name is Alera. I am not sick. I just need you to help put your stamp on this medical report. I want to tender it at my office as a sick leave. I'll pay 10,000 naira.
Ma'am, that is impersonation. I'm not a doctor.
Oga, be like say this English no go pay. I go increase the money to 20,000 naira. I beg. You know, if I give you that 20,000, as you wide, so you know, if it still help your condition more. So you know, say you spread well.
As I spread like virus, I mean.
You talk about.
Come out! If person come your hospital, talk to make you give out fake medical report, make you go take collect sick leave. Talk and say no, not corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Glad to have you back. Nigeria's inflation rate has continued its steady fall, coming down to 15.13% for the month of January. This represents the 12th straight month the rate has fallen. Now, according to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, the current rate is 0.24%, points lower than the rate recorded in December, which is 15.37%. A separate food price index showed inflation at 18.92% in January, compared with 19.42% recorded in December. It was a bullish market at the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Wednesday as the market recovered from its consistent loss. The all-share index appreciated by 1.11% to close at 42,171.2 as against 41,708.15 basis points of the previous traded session. The market capitalization also rose as much as it fell, closing at 15.133 billion naira as against 14.967 billion naira seen in the previous traded session. The market breathed high as the ratio of gainers to losers was 35-17. Some of the big names in the consumer goods sector like Nestle and Nigeria brewers that saw themselves losing in the previous session made a shift to the gainers table, gaining 1.89 and 0.94%. There was also Better Glass and Zenith Bank on the chart. Meanwhile, on the flip side was Total, Fort Oil, Okomu Oil Palm PLC and Dangote Cement leading that chart. Sky Bank, First City Monument Bank, United Bank for Africa and Diamond Bank was among the most traded equities in terms of volume. 520.743 million shares exchanged 4.718 billion naira in 5,694 deals on the floor of the exchange market on Wednesday. Oil fell for a third day on Wednesday on concerns that rising U.S. production and another drop in financial markets after U.S. consumer prices rose more than expected. Brent crude futures fell 55 cents to $62.17 a barrel. The price has lost 11% since hitting a high above $71 in January and has now wiped out all its 2018 gains, while U.S. crude, on the other hand, dropped 77 cents to $58.42 a barrel. U.S. consumer prices, excluding energy and food, accelerated at their fastest pace in a year, triggering a bounce in the dollar as prospects for more U.S. interest rate rises pushed up Treasury yields. A truck packed with African migrants crashed near the Libyan town of Bani Walid on Wednesday, leaving at least 19 dead and 80 injured, officials said. Emergency officials say the truck had flipped over about 80 kilometers south of Bani Walid. Bani Walid, located south of Tripoli, is a hub for smugglers who bring sub-Saharan African migrants by road from neighboring countries up towards Libya's Mediterranean coast. They are often held and transported in brutal conditions, passed between smugglers who take payment for different stages of the journey and extort money from the migrants. Moving on to sports stories now. Dutch club Fortuna Sittard has dismissed a former head coach of Nigeria's national team, Sunday Olise. Olise was sacked despite leading the club to second place on the league table, which is 5 points behind the leaders. Now, the club, however, noted that Olise was not dismissed for sporting performances, but for internal fighting with players and staff. The club described Olise's action as inadmissible, adding that the coach has made cooperation with many people within the organization impossible. Looking at more sports stories now, Nigeria Super Falcons look set to face Mali in their opening fixture at the inaugural edition of the WAFU Women's Cup, following Benin's withdrawal from the competition. Benin were scheduled to face the Super Falcons in their opening Group B fixture, but have now pulled out of the tournament. The Benin Football Federation on Wednesday officially withdrew the team just hours to the start of the competition, stating that the team is not ready to take part in the tournament. Manchester City club captain Vincent Kompany has assured the club will not take their foot off the gas against Basel, despite winning the first leg of their Champions League last 16 tie 4-0 in Switzerland on Tuesday. Pep Guardiola's side produced a superb performance with 4 goals, making the second leg a formality. But defender Kompany says the second leg will be all about making a statement for the rounds ahead as they look to win the competition for the first time, having reached the semi-finals 2 years ago. Well, that's it on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.